Pressure's dropping. Move, a surgeon yelled. We're losing him. The ER doors blew open as paramedics rammed a stretcher inside, wheels screaming across the floor. Admiral Ryland Voss lay motionless, his tan field uniform torn by 4 gunshot wounds. Blood soaked through the fabric, dripping off the rails and streaking the tiles like a trail pulled straight from a battlefield. Get him to Trauma 1, now! The room erupted. Machines blared, trays clattered, hands collided, arguments exploded. Tension pneumo! No, massive abdominal bleed. He's coding again. And in the chaos, one person didn't move. Mira Rowan, the rookie nurse no one trusted with anything heavier than med passes, the girl who blended into hallways. Quiet, unremarkable, forgettable. But as she watched Admiral Voss struggling to breathe, something old inside her clicked back into place. The uneven rise of his chest, the flickering pulse, the blood pooling in a pattern she knew too well. Kandor Province. Forward Base Falcon Gate. The night Specter-12 was wiped out. A surgeon barked, "Somebody get that rookie out of here." "She's in the way," another snapped. Mira didn't move. She wasn't looking at the chaos. She was looking at him, the man who once dragged her out of a burning MRAP with one arm, blood pouring down his face, telling her, "Rowan, stay alive. You're the only one who knows the truth." Her breath steadied. She stepped forward. "What are you doing?" A doctor grabbed for her. But Mira was already at Voss's side, 2 fingers pressing into a point on his neck none of them recognized. "Not yet, sir," she whispered. Her hands moved like muscle memory. Not nursing school technique, combat medic instinct. A precise airway tilt, a dual pressure reset, a micro adjustment to the oxygen angle civilians would never think to try. Then, beep, beep, beep. A steady rhythm punched back onto the monitor. The entire room froze. What did she just do? Is that even possible? I've never seen that maneuver. Mira stepped back, chest rising and falling, but her face held steady. Because her body remembered something she wished it didn't. A dusty medical tent, her teammates bleeding out, a heartbeat coming back under her palms. Right before the explosion that erased Specter-12 from existence. The lead surgeon spun on her, humiliated and furious. "You had no authorization to touch him. Get her out now! You just violated federal protocol." Minutes later, she was dragged out. 10 minutes after that, she was fired. Mira stepped into the cold night, badge still warm in her hand, scrubbed stiff with the Admiral's blood. She didn't know where to go. She just knew the air felt wrong. Then the ground vibrated. 8 black SUVs tore around the corner and roared into the hospital driveway. They braked in perfect sync, too clean, too controlled to be anything but federal. Doors opened. Boots hit pavement. Men in suits moved like operators, not administrators. They didn't look at the hospital. They looked at her. One stepped forward. "Petty Officer Mira Rowan," he said quietly. "We've been looking for you." Because she wasn't just a rookie nurse. She was the last surviving combat medic of SEAL Recon Unit Specter-12. And tonight, they didn't come for the Admiral. They came for the truth. Where's your AO tonight? Drop your city. And if you like stories about loyalty, betrayal, and unseen warriors, hit subscribe and stay with the unit for next missions. The cold night air hit Mira the moment she stepped out of Northbridge Regional Medical Complex. Her badge still sat in her palm, terminated, invalid, useless. The scrubs clinging to her skin were stiff with Admiral Voss's blood. The hospital lights behind her hummed like nothing extraordinary had just happened. It didn't matter that she saved a Navy SEAL Admiral. Protocol said she touched a federal asset without authorization. Protocol didn't care why. She took a single step toward the parking lot, and the ground trembled. A low rumble rolled in from the street, steady and heavy like the approach of armored vehicles. Mira turned just as 8 black SUVs swept into the driveway in a razor-tight formation. Headlights flared. Engines growled. The vehicles braked in perfect sync, tires screeching softly against asphalt. This wasn't coincidence. This was deployment. Doors opened in unison. Men in black stepped out with the posture of operators, not bureaucrats. 2 nurses watching from the entrance gasped. Someone whispered, "Did the Admiral die?" But Mira already knew. They weren't here for his body. They were here for her. Because the moment Mira's hands touched the Admiral, a chain of federal systems lit up. Combat Medical Biometric Signature flagged. SEAL Recon technique detected in civilian hospital. Federal alert pushed to OIA protocol. She wasn't supposed to exist. Her name wasn't supposed to appear anywhere ever again. But the biometric trace in her own movements betrayed her. A man stepped out from the lead SUV, tall, sharp jaw, eyes like cold steel. The badge clipped at his belt wasn't marked with any known agency. "Petty Officer Mira Rowan," he said, voice low. Her pulse jolted. She hadn't heard anyone say her full SEAL designation in 4 years. "It's Nurse Rowan now," she managed. He stopped inches from her. "Not to us." Agents formed a subtle arc around them, blocking every angle of escape, but not aggressively. More like they were containing something fragile. An asset who didn't know she was an asset anymore. "My name is Jace Merrick," he said. "Office of Internal Armed Oversight." The words punched the air out of her lungs. OIA, the shadow watchdog of special operations. The place where classified failures went to be dissected. The place where betrayals were buried, or dragged into the light. "What do you want with me?" Mira asked quietly. Jace studied her, deep, evaluating, like he already knew the answer to every question except the one she hadn't said aloud. "You saved Admiral Voss once before," he said. "Kandor Province, Falcon Gate." Her heart cracked. That battlefield lived behind her eyelids every night. "You were presumed dead with the rest of Specter-12, Jace continued. "But tonight, you used a maneuver no civilian medic could know. The system recognized it. And so did we." Mira's breath caught. A combat medtech signature. 3 pressure points. 1 airway tilt. It was enough to expose her. "We intercepted an encrypted message inside your ER," Jace added. "Someone tried to finish the Admiral, and someone intentionally got you fired." Her stomach turned cold. "Why?" she whispered. Jace leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Because whoever tried to kill him knew you were the only person alive who could stop it." Mira's knees weakened. 8 SUVs, federal protocols, biometric alerts, everything converging at the exact moment she saved the Admiral. "What are you saying?" she whispered. Jace's eyes hardened. "Specter-12 didn't die in combat, Mira. They were betrayed." The night fell silent. "And the traitor," he said softly, "works in your hospital." The SUV door shut with a heavy thud that felt too final, as if the outside world had been severed cleanly behind her. Inside, the dim cabin glowed a muted amber, revealing only silhouettes. 2 agents flanking her, and Agent Jace Merrick across from her with a tablet already open. He didn't start with questions, he started with the truth. A photo filled the screen. Not Nurse Mira Rowan. Petty Officer Mira Rowan. SEAL Recon Medtech, Specter-12. Night vision goggles lifted on her helmet. Rifle slung across her chest. A smile she no longer remembered how to make. "We never believed you died," Jace said quietly. "But none of us expected you to resurface inside a civilian hospital." Mira looked away. Her voice came out hollow. "I didn't resurface, I hid." Jace nodded once. No judgment, only understanding. "The ambush in Kandor never added up," he continued. "Specter-12 was elite. Too disciplined to walk into a kill zone blind. Too experienced to get caught that cleanly." Mira's throat tightened. Flames, metal twisting. Her teammates calling her name through smoke that thickened like wet wool. "You were the only survivor," Jace said. "Badly injured. When you woke up at Land Tool Medical, you vanished before debrief." "I didn't vanish," she whispered. "I escaped." "Why?" Mira inhaled shakily. I heard 2 analysts talking outside my room. They said the ambush wasn't random. Someone sold us out. Someone with enough rank that no official report would ever mention it. If the traitor realized I survived, they'd finish the job, Jace. Finished for her. Silence filled the SUV. Heavy, electric, respectful. Mira didn't realize she was shaking until one of the agents shifted slightly, a subtle gesture of support without touching her, as if approaching a wounded animal. Jace tapped the tablet again. Encrypted messages, medical logs, a map of NRMC's blind spot corridors, and then a blurry surveillance still, a man in scrubs, mask low, cap pulled to shadow the eyes. But the eyes... Mira's breath shattered. That's... Her voice cracked. That's Dr. Hale. Jace's jaw flexed. Corvin Hale, chief trauma surgeon, and 4 years ago, an embedded medical consultant at Falcon Gate. The world tilted. Mira clutched the edge of the seat. He said he was studying battlefield triage, she whispered. Jace's voice hardened. He was tracking your movements, your supply timings, your extraction times, your breathing patterns under fire. We believe he mapped Specter-12's entire routine within 48 hours. Mira felt something sharp twist under her ribs. Hale visited my squad every morning, she whispered. Checked their vitals. Made jokes. Took notes on their stress levels. I thought he cared. That was the mask he wore, Jace said. Her chest caved. She wanted to scream. She wanted to tear the memory of Hale's calm smile out of her skull. And tonight, Jace continued, he altered the Admiral's meds with NLX-47, same compound used in Kandur. Mira's hands trembled. NLX-47 kills fast. In high dose, Jace said, but in low dose it collapses the respiratory system slowly enough to look like organ failure. Natural, untraceable for hours. Her stomach lurched. Hale wasn't just killing them. He was burying the truth with them. He fired you, Jace added, voice low, because you were the only one who'd recognize the pattern, the only one who could save the Admiral. Mira squeezed her eyes shut. The betrayal felt physical, a blade twisting under her ribs. For years, she whispered, I thought staying quiet kept me safe. It didn't, Jace said. It only kept him close. Mira looked at the photos of Specter-12 on the tablet. Reddick, Vale, Quinn, Arden Locke. Smiling the day before they died. Her fingertips hovered above their faces, shaking but refusing to touch. By the time the convoy rolled into the OIA field hub, a converted warehouse lit by screens and satellite feeds, Mira's story had barely begun. What do you need from me? She whispered. Everything, Jace replied. Every detail, every instinct, every moment that felt wrong. She inhaled slowly. For them. For Voss. For the truth she owed the dead. All right, Mira whispered. I'll help. Before Jace could respond, alarms exploded across the warehouse, screens flashing violent red. The Admiral is crashing again. Dr. Hale left the hospital 5 minutes ago. Every agent snapped into motion. But Mira froze, because the truth hit her like a blast wave. Hale wasn't running. He was hunting, and she was the target. The moment the alert hit the screens, Admiral Voss crashing again. Dr. Corvin Hale unaccounted for. The entire command center erupted into controlled chaos. Agents shouted coordinates, screens flickered red, satellite routes recalibrated in seconds. The air shifted from tension to urgency, the kind that made Mira's pulse spike so hard she felt it in her teeth. If Hale wanted the Admiral dead, this was it. Vulnerable, sedated, surrounded by staff who trusted him. It was Kandur all over again, the same opening, the same pattern, the same monster. Mira stepped forward before she even realized she'd moved. We need to get back, now! Jace turned sharply. Rowan, you're not cleared to... No one knows his method like I do, she cut in, voice trembling but steady. You think he improvises? No, he repeats. Same dose, same entry point, same timeline. He's copying the exact pattern from Falcon Gate. The room froze for a breath. Then Jace nodded. Once, hard. Gear up, we move. The convoy launched out of the warehouse like a pack of wolves, engines low, headlights off, speed climbing fast. Mira sat in the middle SUV, operators on both sides checking their weapons with silent precision. Their calm should have comforted her. Instead, it made the fear sharper. Her mind replayed the faces of Specter-12, Reddick, Vale, Quinn, Arden Locke, each one falling, suffocating, collapsing into her arms while she failed to save them. And now Dr. Hale wanted to erase the only two people alive who could expose what he'd done. Admiral Voss and her. "You holding up?" one agent asked quietly. Mira stared out at the streetlights rushing past. "I knew something was off when he fired me. I just didn't want to believe he could do this." "He fooled a lot of people," the agent replied. "But you survived him once. That's why you're here." Mira swallowed hard. She didn't feel brave. She didn't feel ready. She felt like the broken medic who crawled away from a burning convoy while her squad died around her. But tonight, she wasn't running. 5 minutes out, the driver called. Jace leaned forward. "He won't use the front entrance." "No," Mira whispered. "He'll take the staff access route." She closed her eyes, letting memories settle. The service hallway behind Trauma 7. There's a blind spot in the cameras. He'd know that. Jace gave a thin, approving smirk. "Good. Think like him." Mira hated how easily she could. The hospital glowed like a beacon when they arrived. Police cruisers blocked the main entrance. Nurses huddled outside, whispering in panic. Doctors stood ghost pale, glued to phones, calling for ICU backup. Mira didn't stop. The agents formed a protective wedge around her as she pushed through the crowd. Inside, the ER was a storm. "Where's Dr. Hale?" "We lost the pulse again." "That IV bag isn't logged. Someone check the chart." Mira ran for Trauma 6. "Rowan, slow down. We don't have time," she snapped, tearing her arm free. The room was chaos. Scattered trays, shouting staff, alarms screaming. Admiral Voss lay pale, drenched in sweat, breath trembling, and then Mira saw it. The IV bag, wrong brand, wrong color tint, wrong tubing clasp. "Hale's been here," she whispered, weapons raised instantly. Agents swept every corner. Mira followed the IV line down to the port. A faint chemical smell hit her nose. NLX-47. The toxin that murdered her squad. Her throat closed. "He dosed him," she said. "Not enough to kill instantly, enough to make it look natural." She tore the line free and slammed her hand on the emergency stop. A nurse screamed. A doctor yelled. "You can't do that. She's fired. Get her out." An agent stepped forward. "She's federal authorized. Move." Mira worked fast. Clamp, flush, pressure, reposition, breath. The Admiral's vitals twitched upward. But Mira felt something else, a presence, watching her. Slowly, she lifted her head. Through the small trauma room window, half hidden by a shadowed corner, stood Dr. Corvin Hale. Mask low, eyes cold, hands still, looking at her like a ghost he expected to stay dead. He tipped his head, mocking, inviting, daring. Mira's blood froze. "He's here." Agents pivoted toward the window. Hale slipped away with chilling calm. "Lock down the floor," Jace barked. But Mira was already running. Through the trauma wing, past the nurses' station, down the dim service corridor where every light flickered like a warning. Her footsteps echoed through the narrow hall, breath fogging in the cold air. Then she rounded a corner and stopped. A nurse lay on the ground. Badge, S. Morales pulse faint, injection mark on her neck. Mira's stomach lurched. Hale was erasing witnesses. Then she saw it. A smeared handprint of blood dragged across the wall, and beside it, one word, written with a shaking finger, "Run." Mira felt her breath catch, her voice cracked. "He's threatening me." Jace's voice came low behind her. "No." She turned. "He's telling you he's coming?" A crash echoed down the corridor. A rolling cart toppled over. Agents raised rifles. From the darkness at the far end of the hall, a figure stepped into the weak light. Hale, mask up, gloves on, syringe filled with clear liquid. His voice carried like ice. "You were supposed to die with the rest of them, Mira." Dr. Corvin Hale stood at the end of the dim hallway. Mask up, gloves on, a syringe of clear toxin catching the flicker of the failing lights. His voice cut through the stillness like a blade. "You were supposed to die with the rest of them, Mira." The words slammed into her chest. Behind her, agents spread out, silent, poised, weapons drawn. But Hale didn't flinch. He pressed the needle to his own throat, using it as leverage, not as a threat against himself, but as a weapon against anyone near him. "One step closer," he warned, "and I put this into the nearest body I touch, including hers." He started walking, slow, deliberate. Mira felt her breath stutter as he closed the distance, but something in his gait was off. A limp, a tremor in his left hand, a shallow, unsteady breath. And suddenly she understood. He'd been exposed to NLX-47 himself. Low dose, accidental splash-on during his earlier manipulation of Voss's IV line. Enough to weaken him, enough to slow him, enough to give her a chance. He didn't know she could see it. Hale stepped close enough that she could smell the metallic tang of antiseptic on his gloves. "You," he whispered, "were the only mistake I left behind." Mira exhaled. Slow, steady, controlled. Just like she had in Kandor, just like the Admiral had taught her. "Then let me correct it." Before Hale could react, she seized his wrist, twisted hard, and drove her palm into a nerve cluster just below his elbow. His arm collapsed instantly, part toxin, part shock from the strike. The syringe skittered across the tiles with a sharp clink. Hale screamed, staggering back. "Agents now!" Jace shouted. Hale lashed out wildly, but he was slower, weaker. The toxin's early respiratory collapse made every breath cost him. He threw a kick at Mira, sloppy, desperate, but she caught his shoulder, pivoted, and slammed him into the wall. "You killed my squad," she hissed. "You think they mattered?" He coughed. "Collateral." She drove her knee into his sternum, cutting him off. Agents swarmed, dragging him to the ground, cuffing his wrists behind him. "You'll never reach him in time," Hale gasped. "Voss is already—" Mira didn't wait to hear the rest. She ran. Her legs burned down the hallway, heart pounding like artillery. Agents cleared the path, staff pressed against walls, eyes wide. She tore into Trauma 6 and froze. Admiral Voss lay still, too still. The monitor sputtered with an irregular failing line. "No," Mira breathed. She pushed past the staff, gripping the Admiral's hand with blood-stained fingers. "Come on," she whispered. "You dragged me out of Kandor with one arm. You told me to live. You don't get to die before I can thank you." His vitals twitched, weak, fleeting. Mira placed her hand over his chest, closed her eyes, and breathed with him. "Follow me back," she whispered. "Just follow my breath." A beat, another, a long, aching silence. Then, beep, beep, beep. The rhythm steadied, fragile but alive. The Admiral's eyelids fluttered open, barely. "Mira." His voice was a rasp of air. "You made it." "So did you," she whispered, relief breaking her voice in half. Around them, the room exhaled. Nurses cried softly. Doctors stepped back, humbled. Jace approached, handing Mira something small. Nothing flashy, nothing ceremonial. A single dog tag, Specter-12, cleaned, polished, restored. "Your name is reinstated," he said quietly, "and your team is no longer forgotten." Mira closed her fingers around the tag, holding it like a heartbeat. She wasn't invisible anymore. She wasn't a ghost. She was Mira Rowan, the medic who refused to let her commander die, and the last voice of Specter-12 finally heard. "Hey, if you're still here after everything Mira went through, thank you. These stories aren't just about action or danger. They're about the kind of strength people don't always see. The quiet kind, the steady kind, the kind that keeps going when nobody's cheering for you. And maybe you've felt that too. Maybe you know what it's like to carry something heavy and keep moving anyway. So wherever you're watching from tonight, I just want to remind you, you don't have to be loud to be strong. You don't have to be seen to matter. And you don't have to win every battle to keep standing. If Mira's story gave you even a little push, a bit of courage, a bit of clarity, a bit of, I can get through this, then I'm glad you're here. Drop your city below, say hi, and if you want to stay with us for more missions, hit subscribe and come back for the next story. Take care of yourself. You're stronger than you think.